Battle of Goose Green, paratroopers in Falklands. This was a pivotal moment really in the Falklands War, and it's a story full of grit, confusion, and unexpected challenges. Most accounts of the Falklands War treat Goose Green as a foregone conclusion, a small battle before the real fight for Stanley. But you know, the overlooked fact is that British intelligence estimated the Argentine garrison at Goose Green at just over 300 men, most of them conscripts. The actual number was closer to 1,200, including veteran units with heavy machine guns, artillery, and plentiful cover in a sheep settlement built like a fortress. What began as a diversionary raid to silence an Argentine airstrip became a frontal assault that broke every rule of light infantry doctrine. The man leading it, Lieutenant Colonel H. Jones, knew he was outnumbered. He went in anyway. The result was a 14-hour firefight across open ground where cover was measured in inches of peat and dead sheep. You are about to learn why Goose Green changed how Western armies think about night attacks, morale, and the cost of a single decision. On the night of May 27, 1982, the 2nd Battalion, the Parachute Regiment, fewer than 700 men, began a silent march south from San Carlos Water. The ground was a nightmare. Peat bogs that swallowed boots, rocky scree that turned ankles, and no moon. Navigation relied on compass bearings and pace counts because the featureless interior offered zero landmarks. By dawn, they had sealed off the isthmus, cutting Goose Green off from the Argentine garrison at Darwin. The Argentines, however, were not surprised. They had dug in along a low ridge called Darwin Hill, with interlocking fields of fire. H. Jones's plan was audacious, a 2-company flanking attack while a 3rd company pinned the center. But you know, it unraveled immediately. The open ground between the British start line and the Argentine positions was roughly 1,000 meters of grazing land with absolutely no cover. A company crossed first and took fire from 3 directions. Men went to ground, unable to lift their heads without drawing tracers. The attack stalled because the British were outgunned. The Argentines had 50 caliber machine guns that outranged the British 7.62 millimeter rifles. Here is the decision that historians still debate. H. Jones left his command post and ran forward to restart the attack by personal example. He charged an Argentine trench position on a small spur called Darwin Hill, firing a submachine gun from the hip. He was hit twice and died within minutes. His body was recovered later that afternoon. Command passed to Major Chris Keeble, a thoughtful officer who had trained as a lawyer before joining the Paras. Keeble faced a nightmare. Half his ammunition gone, daylight fading, and his battalion pinned in the open. He did something the British Army did not formally teach at the time. He stopped the assault and listened. What he heard were Argentine voices singing folk songs, loudly, nervously, through the night. Keeble realized the Argentines were terrified of a night bayonet charge. He decided not to give them one. Instead, he used a captured field telephone to call the Argentine commander and calmly described the artillery barrage that would begin at 9:30 in the morning if surrender was refused. At 9:30 on May 29th, without a single additional round fired, 1,200 Argentine soldiers surrendered to fewer than 700 paratroopers. Goose Green became a case study for a reason that has nothing to do with heroism and everything to do with pressure. H. Jones received a posthumous Victoria Cross for his courage. But the battle was won because Keeble stopped, assessed, and chose psychological pressure over further slaughter. The lesson that seeped into Western military doctrine was this: morale is not just a soldier's feeling. It is a tactical vulnerability you can attack without firing a shot. For the Argentines at Goose Green, the breaking point was not a bayonet. It was the silence between the singing and the phone call. History that goes deeper does not ask you to cheer for one flag or another. It asks you to understand why men break and why they hold. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper.